Hi, it's Roy, Aqvavitae. I've just finished editing Scott's blind challenge video. Super excited to share it with you. It's been fantastic fun watching Scott go through and kind of wrestle with the challenges and trying to work out the whiskies and things. But what we need to remember is this is about testing the whiskey, you know, expensive against cheap, Scotch against non-Scotch, modern whiskey against vintage whiskey, all of those kind of things. But what's really struck me about editing this video and what was very cool is that just recently I watched a video that was recorded on the 18th of October 2013, and it was just two guys sitting down in their kitchen starting out a whiskey journey, one that they were going to share on YouTube. And what I've just edited today is 5 years down the road. I've witnessed a whiskey journey, and it's Scott's whiskey journey. It's quite fantastic. And after this blind challenge, I encourage you to spend a little bit extra time, just a few more extra minutes, to go back to the Scotch Test Dummies' first ever video that they put out on YouTube, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This has been super cool to do. I hope you enjoy the video, and of course, you'll find out how Scott scored and who you nominated at the end. Thanks for watching.
Hey, this is Scott with the Scotch Test Dummies. I'm about to attempt Roy's Aqvavitae's blind taste challenge. So, I have in front of me the 5 samples that Roy arranged for me to get. I have them marked yellow, green, red, blue, and orange. What I'll do is go through, give you initial impressions on the nose. I'm probably going to turn the camera off while I finish nosing, get some more complete notes. That way Roy doesn't have 2 hours worth of footage to edit. So, my yellow one, and it has the richest color of them. And by the way, I have coins 193, 196. Well, 193 is on the yellow, 196 on the green, 198 on the red, 199 on the blue, and 201 on the orange. So, I've poured these, the yellow. Ooh, that's high ABV, or higher, sherry influence. Oak, feels older, reminds me very much of my Balvenie-Ton 1509 batch 3, which is delicious. Better write that down. Green, almost the palest, maybe in comparison with the blue, or in contest with the blue. Green on the nose, a little sour. Malty. Lemongrass. A little bit different. Upper 40s on the ABV maybe. That's hard to tell on the nose. Lemongrass, malty, sour. Red. Almost as dark as the yellow, not quite. I might be too, there we go. A little bit of a earth, slight peat, clay, burnt rubber. Whew. A lot of alcohol. Clay, earth, burnt rubber. Blue. Pale. Paler, almost as pale as the green. Ooh, no. That one's different. That's harking me back to something. Grain. Dirt. This is a different... If there's a non-Scotch in there, this is probably it. Feels like a different mash bill than just malted barley. It's not a good nose. Had a little splash. Sour. Almost like moldy bread. And the orange. It was light, a little different on its own as well. Not much there. Light oak, light citrus, light sweetness. Okay, now I'm going to turn the camera off for a little bit. I'm going to finish nosing these for a little bit, dive in just to the nose. I'll come back in. I'll take my first sip of them, give you some notes there, and then I'll label them my favorite to the least favorite. Okay, I'm back. Went through, spent a little bit more time on each one of these. Got a few more notes on some. The yellow, I can tell you I got definite cinnamons, allspices, raisins, plums. Definitely smells like the oldest one here. Sherry influenced without a doubt. The green sample, I added light citrus, and it's a little salty, almost like it was aged by the sea, possibly. The red sample, I did not get any more on the nose from it other than the original clay earth, kind of a burnt rubber, a different peat smell. Reminds me it could be an Irish peat, a Swiss peat, or possibly maybe a Bamor. Just initially on the nose. Guesses. The blue sample, I did not add any notes to it. It's still the most off-putting nose. And just based on the nose, it's definitely a non-Scotch. The orange, I added a vanilla to it. Almost feels like a grain whiskey. Maybe just bourbon. If it is a single malt, just bourbon cask. So I'll go through. I'm going to start with the orange and just take a little sip, give some initial notes. I'm going to turn the camera off. Go through each one, maybe cleanse my palate in between each one. That's going to save Roy some editing time. And then I'll come back with kind of just my notes on them, and then I'll rank them. Okay, yellow, or the orange, very nice. Vanillas, citrus, sweetness, oak, very light. Low to mid 40s on the ABV. Could be the grain whiskey. Could be a malt from a bourbon cask. Very light, very enjoyable. Next, I'll go with the green. I got lemongrass, malty, and sour. Let's see. A little bit richer. Real similar to the orange. A lot of malt. Vanillas, lemongrass. Light citruses like pears. Not necessarily any of the salt that's on the nose coming through on the palate. That's a light. Those two are pretty similar. I'll have to spend some time with those two to tell them apart. Let's go with the red next. Clay, earth, and burnt rubber. Ooh, boy, that's astringent. That sucks all the moisture out of your mouth. A lot of peat. Not the burnt rubber on the palate. It's rich, thick. Some sweetness. Dark sweetness. Or richer sweetness. The palate makes up somewhat for the nose on that. I'll spend a little bit more time with it before I tell you for sure. I'm going to go with the yellow one. Yellow next. Too much peat still on my palate. That's very rich, very good. Not high ABV though. Not as much sherry on the palate as what's on the nose there anyway. I'm going to spend a little bit more time with that one. Very rich, though. A lot of oak. A lot of dark fruits. That one will be good. Spend some time with. And last but not least, the sour, moldy bread, dusty grain. Ooh. I hope the palate makes up for the nose on blue. Didn't get too much at all. Okay. I'll have to, spend some time with these. I'm going to cleanse, I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to spend a little bit more time with these, cleanse my palate, give it some time in between each one, and then come back, give you my notes, and I'll rank them in order. So we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, I'm back. I had some palate cleansers, sat down, spent a little bit more time with each one. I actually wish I had a little bit more with a couple of them. I'll go through, I'll tell you my favorite. Number one is going to be yellow. From the nose, I knew it. Nice, rich oak, sherry. Number two, and I went back and forth between the green and the orange. Green one at number two. I get a nice, rich vanilla, creams, citruses. Really reminds me of like a Klein Leash, something like that. The base that John Glazer with Compass Box uses in a lot of his whiskeys. Number three for me is actually going to be the peated one, the red. It's nice, it's rich, earthiness, it's astringent. Peat comes out. It's a very good dram overall. Number four then comes in the orange, which is, I get a nice vanilla cream, a coconut with it as well. It's rich, it's oak, but it's not quite what the green is. And then last but not least in number five is the blue. So number one, yellow, two, green, three, red, four is orange, and five is blue. So now, by Roy's instructions, it's time to open envelope number one. Do not open until after committing preferences. Let's make sure here, commit to your favorite through to your least favorite. Open the first envelope and try to complete the 5 challenges. So I'm just now opening this up. It's still sealed. Challenges. First, find the single malt finished in wine barriques. 9 years bourbon, 2 years in wine. Find the non-Scotch. Find the bottling from the last century, the 1980s, which was a 1960s or 70s distillate. Find greater than 35-year-old bottling. Find the less than $35 bottling. Interesting. So the non-Scotch, boy, that blue, it makes me want to claim that's it. But that could be the bottling from the last century with those off-putting notes, that sour wood. Or it could be the orange. Single malt finished in wine barriques, 9 years. In bourbon, 2 years in wine. Find the non-Scotch, the bottling from the last century. Greater than 35. Less than $35. All right, let me go back through and taste just a little bit. Find the single malt finished in wine barriques. So this one feels, my sherried one is my favorite, feels more than 11 years old. It's very rich. I originally thought it was older, at least 25 years. So that could be the greater than the 35-year-old bottling. The less than $35 bottling, I'm leaning towards being the orange. No, it's too rich for less than $35. And I am, the non-Scotch, I am definitely sticking, well, no, I hate to even do that. Which one? Roy, you are stumping me. Blue is very rich. It's older. The sour, the oh-so sour notes on the nose aren't necessarily there on the palate. There's a lot of malt. There's oak, there's vanillas, there's citrus. Some of these are so similar. Roy is trying to stump me, and he has. Okay, I'm going with the yellow for the greater than 35-year bottling. The green is the 1970s distillate. Red is the single malt finished in wine barriques, 9 years bourbon, 2 years wine. Blue is the non-Scotch. And orange is the under $35 bottle. So, that was it for envelope number 1. Let's go to envelope number 2. I'm just checking Roy's instructions over here at the same time. After completing that, open envelope number 2, which says, a look through the letterbox. Glenfiddich Pure Malt, official 1980s bottling, 40% ABV. This predecessor to today's Glenfiddich 12, this NAS, was bottled sometime in the 80s and is a curious glimpse into how the common or garden Glenfiddich once was. The bottle still carries the pre-single malt label of pure malt and is presented at 40% ABV. There's a Glen Keith NAS official bottling, 40% ABV. The first bottling from Glen Keith since the distillery was shuttered in '99, reopened in 2013. It's fairly safe to assume this NAS official bottling, called Distillery Edition, is 4 years old, perhaps topped up with a little archive stock. It does, however, give a glimpse of the future. Available 20 pounds to 30 pounds. There's a Powers Johns Lane single pot still Irish whiskey. An example of a style of whiskey rendered almost extinct until the Renaissance in Irish distilling, distilled from a mash of malted and unmalted barley. This is a 12-year example of the style and is presented non-chill filtered at 46% ABV. A Glenfarclas 40-year-old official bottling. Original batches of the famed Glenfarclas 40-year-old, an absolute bargain when first launched. It's now $1,000 plus. Amazing example of the depth of stocks available from this independent Speyside distillery. And the Longrow Red 11-year 2018 Cabernet Franc edition, 55.9, made at Campbelltown's Springbank Distillery. This peated single malt was finished in fresh Cabernet Franc red wine barriques for 2 years, bottled at cask strength 55.9%, which does not show. Okay, so I know this was red. I called out is the Longrow Red. I know that. 9 years, and then finished 2 years in wine casks. This I called out is the oldest. This is the yellow. Has to be the Glenfarclas 40-year-old. So that leaves green, orange, and blue. So one of those is the Powers, the non-Scotch. I'm not sure which one. Which one's the Glen Keith and which one is the Glenfiddich. Those could be shuffled up. Oh, wow. So, after committing your answers, open the second one. You are now semi-blind. Match the drams. You may choose to alter your guesses. This is your last chance before the full reveal. Okay, let's look at my notes. On the green, lemongrass. It's malty, sour, light citrus, salty. I think that one really reminded me probably of a current day Glenfiddich. Very citrusy. Did I say pears and apples, tropical fruit, vanillas? Okay. So I know I got the red. I know I got the yellow. That leaves Glen Keith, a 4-year-old. There was actually one of these at first I thought was a little bit younger. And then the Powers John Lane single pot still Irish whiskey, 12 years old. That's the orange that I originally thought was the under $20. That's good. I don't mind that one. And the blue, which is really sour. That's got to be, I hope Glenfiddich wasn't doing stuff like that. I'm actually going, I'm going to stick, I think the blue is my non-Scotch. Nope, I got to switch that up. I'm going to go with blue being the Glen Keith NAS, a 4-year-old whiskey. It's not good. I'm going to go with orange being the Powers John Lane single pot still Irish whiskey at 12 years old. And the green, I'm going to say, is my 1980s distillate Glenfiddich Pure Malt. Let me try again. It was really good. I liked it. Yep. That's my final answer. And I'm sticking to it. So yellow is the Glenfarclas. Green is the Glenfiddich. Red, the Longrow. Blue was the Glen Keith NAS. That's the, no, okay, I gotta switch those up because the blue is the Keith under $35. The orange becomes the non-Scotch, and the Powers John Lane single pot still Irish whiskey at 12 years old. Yep, that's my answer, and I'm sticking to it. So, envelope number 3. Where'd it go? Got all kinds of stuff here. The keys to the door. The full reveal. Let's find out. Hopefully my mic is on. Would have been put a little beep in there, Roy. All right, the full, oh, what do we got? More stuff in here. Okay, he's got his stickers. Okay, the yellow Glenfarclas 40. Yep, Called that one. That was here. Love it. I need a bottle of that one, Roy. Send it on over. Orange. Powers. Powers John Lane, single pot still. Called that one. Well, after switching around, look over there. What's that? Powers. The yellow was the Glenfarclas. Red is the Longrow. I called that one. Less than 35 being the blue. Yes, the Glen Keith. Woo! Do not buy that one. And the green is the Glenfiddich 1980s bottling. Wow, not too bad. I think I did okay. So, finally, from the attached list, nominate the next volunteer to receive the challenge. When I had talked to Roy, you know who I said first? I don't even have to look at the list. Rob, Whiskey in the Six. It's coming to you, baby. Roy, send over some more of that Glenfarclas, that 1980s Glenfiddich. See you later, dummies.